Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are going over my top 5 battleships. So these are, in my opinion, the 5 best battleships in game. It was very hard to get this whittled down to just 5 ships. There's one or two you could probably substitute on this list. I would still definitely agree that, these are 5 of the best battleships in game. So it's a very, very, very close race to get on this list. A big caveat for this video is that these are ships that are currently available for outright purchase, meaning that you can go into the armory, spend your steel, coal, research bureau points, or go into the tech tree and spend your XP, or go into the premium shop and spend your doubloons or cash to buy the ship outright. So we won't be seeing any removed battleships on this list, just the ones that are available. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get on into it. But if you do find yourself enjoying this video at any point, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and all of that jazz helps on the YouTube side of things. So let's go ahead and get going with number 5. We have the Tier 10 German premium battleship, the Mecklenburg, or special ship, resource ship, whatever you want to call it. The Mecklenburg, yes, one of the best, well, not only best German premiums in the game, but just outright premiums in the game. I know technically it's a resource ship, but I'm just calling it a premium just for simplicity's sake. This thing is so good, guys, and what's really cool about it is that not only is it a good battleship, but it is a good battleship that you can play in a variety of ways. Meaning that, yes, you can build into the main battery guns, which, speaking of main battery guns, you have 16 gear guns here, so that's wonderful. 16 305mm guns with excellent accuracy, as you can see in the background footage. So you can build into the main guns, do a main gun tank build, and play this thing from mid-ish range and be an excellent mid-range battleship, because 16 305mm guns slamming into the side of your enemy, that's not going to be a great time for whoever's on the receiving end of that. It's yeah, there are small guns. I believe these smallest battleship guns at tier 10, but they are many in number, right? And what's great about the accuracy and volume of fire is that if the AP is not able to get through, because, understandably so, it's not that hard to angle to 305mm of gun, and, by tier 10 standards, obviously you're not really overmatching too much. You can swap it over to the HE, and yes, it does have the German anemic HE with the low HE alpha, but again, 16 shells, you're going to be doing some pretty decent damage number there in terms of alpha damage, and again, through just the volume, you will be starting more than a few fires along the way. And keep in mind, this is still a German battleship, so it's got the armor, it's got the torpedoes bolted to the side, so it's also a pretty darn good close-in battleship as well. And it's got secondary, so that's the other way you can go about the Mecklenburg. You can put a secondary build on her, and she will do just fine as a secondary ship. In fact, she will do quite well as a secondary ship, because you've got, well, not only the secondary starting fires on the enemy ships, but you can go just with your main battery guns and load HE and spam HE with your secondaries and be burning things down left, right, and center. Or you can play as a more traditional German battleship, do AP with the main guns, and again, it is 16 305mm guns, so that will work just fine. So that's what I really love about the Mecklenburg. Not only is she a great German battleship for slapping broadside battleships, for deleting broadside cruisers, for absolutely bullying destroyers with her 16 HE shells, but you can play her in a variety of ways. Full main gun tank build, full-on secondary build, a little bit in-between build. You can do this with the Mecklenburg, and she will work. Now, she is a still ship, so it's a ship that you do have to spend quite some time grinding away, your steel or collecting steel in order to acquire her, but she's worth every single drop of steel, in my opinion. So, great German battleship, but you do have to, again, dedicate quite some time to picking her up. That's why she's at number 5 on this list. Going on our way down to number 4, though, we have another similar story here with the tier 10 French battleship, the Bourgogne. Now, the Bourgogne is another still ship, which is, again, why she's at number 4 on this list, because, again, still is a bit of a grind, especially if you're not someone that's overly active in clan battles, right? either have to buy your way through the dockyard, grind your away your life and rank, or just wait quite some time in order to acquire enough steel. Even someone like myself that plays this game every single day, I can't just go out and just yoink a steel ship when I feel like it. It takes me sometimes around a year to get up enough steel in order to acquire one of these steel ships, or a season or two of clan battles. But anyway, the Bourgogne is another steel ship, but kind of a similar story here with the Bourgogne as the Mecklenburg. You have miniguns at tier 10, but they are small. You get 12 15-inch guns on the Bourgogne. The Bourgogne, if you don't know, it's the tier 9 tech line French battleship that's been up-tiered to tier 10 and then turbocharged. So again, 12 15-inch guns, but you get an improved accuracy, an improved reload, and a reload booster over the Alsace. So you have slightly more accurate, faster reloading 15-inch guns here on the Bourgogne with a reload booster. And that's a pretty good formula there, because the Alsace is already an amazing tier 9 ship, and just taking that and turbocharging it makes it an even more amazing ship. Now, of course, you're in a tier 10 slot, so you have to deal with going up against tier 10 battleships with your 15-inch guns, but it's not too much of a problem because you do have the ability to HE spam them, which is, again, similar story to the Mecklenburg. Yes, they are, 15-inch shells, but throw enough of them at the target with the HE. You'll be doing plenty of HE alpha damage and setting fires with the Bourgogne. Then you can pop your reload booster and, sling 2 more salvos at them back to back, and, well, that sucks if you've burned your damage con, because now you've probably got a permanent fire or 2 chilling on your ship. And of course, too, using AP on broadside with the reload booster. Oh yeah, 12 15-inch shells, 12 French 15-inch shells, that hurts. I don't care who you are. If you get caught broadside and you get reload boosted Bourgogne shells coming at you, 24 shells. Well, really, if you time it right, you can fit 3 bursts back to back with the Bourgogne reload. So yeah, you're not having a nice day with 36 shells coming at you back to back to back from the Bourgogne. That's how you get sunk, right? Now, the Bourgogne also does get the speed boost, the French speed boost, and that is very nice, especially when you're playing at mid-range in the beginning, because, you're being a slippery little battleship in the back, burning things down. Typically with the Bourgogne, I start with the HE spam unless I see, something, nice and juicy sitting broadside. I'll use the HE at range just because, 15-inch guns at range at tier 10. Obviously, you're not overmatching too much at that point, so, you spam a little HE at the start. When you get closer and you swap to the AP, start looking for those broadside shots. Get on the flank, run down the flank using your engine boost, find those broadsides, reload boost your 15-inch guns into their broadside with the AP, rinse, wash, and repeat, and you've got a wonderful time here in the Bourgogne. Again, it is a still ship. Yes, you gotta grind a little while and wait some time to collect enough still, but absolutely worth it, especially if you like the Alsace. If you love the Alsace, you'll love the Bourgogne. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And going our way down now to number 3, we have the tier 10 American battleship, the Ohio. The Ohio, this is easily one of the best battleships in the game. Again, it's the reason why it's on this list. The Ohio is a wonderful ship. It is so amazing. It's so good. So what the Ohio is, if you don't know, it is the Montana, the tier 10 American tech line battleship, the mainline battleship, because we have to clarify that nowadays with our 3 American battleship lines. But instead of having 12 16-inch guns, she instead has 8 457mm 18-inch guns. That's pretty good. And then when you take the American Plotting Room Mod 2 module, you get an 11% buff to your dispersion. That's very nice, on top of the already very nice American dispersion pattern. Oh yeah, the Ohio is sending 8 18-inch guns downrange with pretty darn good accuracy, which means it's fantastic for, the common meta where you kind of sit around at the beginning or sometimes the entire match and just chill and spam, your shells at each other from the other side of the map. Those 8 18-inch guns, when they connect, they are going to do a whole lot of damage thanks to, again, being the Mark 8 Super Heavy AP with the increased alpha damage. Now, they do go through fly through the air a little bit slower than your normal 18-inch guns because they are super heavy shells, which means that they tend to overpin cruisers a little less, well, not a little less, a lot less than other 18-inch shells tend to do so. So pretty good performance there with the 18-inch guns. Of course, up close they are just absolute sledgehammers against whoever you have to bully at close range. Speaking of close range, you also get the improved American secondaries with their improved accuracy and improved reload time. Meaning that these 5-inch guns, these 25-inch guns you get as your secondary suite, they're going to be setting fires left, right, and center. They're going to be bullying destroyers if their accuracy is built up all the way. So you get some nice damage income from them at close range. On top of that, you get the American improved damage con with the improved 20-second runtime and the quick cooldown time on that, and you get the improved American battleship heal with the increased HP regenerated per second and the quick cooldown time on that to kind of help the what is the Montana hull be more durable at close range. And again, very much like the Mecklenburg, the Ohio, you can play her as a full-on main gun tank build. That is a great choice. She is an incredibly tough ship. That's what most do in clan battles. You can play her as a full-on secondary ship if you want to, just for the funsies, and she'll be good at that. This is one of the best things about the Ohio, in my opinion. Or you can play her as a little bit in between, like I do. I got a little bit of a tank, a little bit of a secondary build on my Ohio, and she works fantastically well. Now, she is a research bureau ship, which means you have to regrind lines in order to acquire her. Or really, what you can do is just save up enough free XP to reset the Harugama line 5 times, and you'll have it, no problem. So you can farm free XP at least without having to actually regrind the line in order to get the ship. I say the Harugama line because the Harugama line is the cheapest line in game at the moment, at the time of recording, I should say. So do that. Get your Ohio, have a blast, especially if you're an American battleship lover. You will have a fantastic time in the Ohio. Alright, going our way down now to number 2, we have the Tier 10 American battleship, the Montana. Bet you guys thought I was going to say the Ohio again, but the Montana. We literally had a video last week talking about how I believe the Montana is one of the, if not the best battleship in games. I won't spend too much time here with the Montana. You get 12 16-inch American guns with the improved American Mark 8 Super Heavy AP. They do higher alpha damage than your standard 16-inch gun does at Tier 10. You get, like I mentioned with the Ohio, the improved American dispersion, where you when you have the nice and tighter dispersion pattern as opposed to other battleships where the dispersion is a little bit more wonky. So you get a bit more consistent of a dispersion pattern here with the Montana versus something like the Conqueror, obviously. So your shells are more consistent. So while you do have smaller guns at Tier 10, they have a consistent pattern to them, so you can get more consistent shells on target. So makes up for it in my opinion. Again, the super heavy AP, the improved alpha, you will be, a lot of times players will bring up that Montanas have smaller guns, but that Mark 8 super heavy AP with its improved alpha, you really don't want to get caught broadside by a Montana. That's how you ruin your day. So like the Ohio 2, she does have the improved American damage con with the increased runtime, but she does not have the the decreased cooldown time on her heal, but still gets the improved American battleship heal for her tankiness. And her legendary mod is well worth it in my opinion. It decreases the amount of time that fires and floods will be on your ship. So you can get a little bit of a zombie Montana out of that build if you go full on into it. Like I said, we did a whole video on the Montana, so I won't spend too much time here on her. You want a more detailed look at the Montana, go check out last week's video. Alright, coming on down now to number 1, we have the one, the only, the Tier 10 Japanese battleship, the Yamato. The Yamato, the Yami as I call her, is one of, my favorite battleships in the game. I know some of you are probably expecting GK here. As much as I love GK, it's not really the best battleship for today's World of Warships. The Yami, on the other hand, the Yami's been here since the beginning, and she has aged so well. There's 9 18.1-inch guns with their ability to overmatch 32 millimeters of armor. Man, they are just so good. Never have to worry about taking HE in this ship unless you've got nothing but destroyers left alive on the enemy team. If you pick up the unique upgrade for the Yami, where you get the decreased dispersion, oh my god, these guns are so nice. Yeah, you only have 9 guns at Tier 10, which is a really low number nowadays. But when, again, you can overmatch 32 millimeters of armor, you don't care about the extremity armor of enemy battleships. The angles really don't matter in most cases as long as you're hitting that 32 millimeter plating. Man, what an excellent ship. Her armor is also really good at range. You probably will, well, I don't want to say your naval will get citadeled at range with the Yami, because it does, and it can happen with some weirdness, and especially with some of the ships we have nowadays. But it's very rare to get outright citadeled at range unless you're sitting perfectly broadside onto the enemy team. She's actually pretty decent at mid-range too in terms of her armor, as long as you know you've got those cheeks underneath the number 2 turret and right in front of, so right behind of the number 3 turret. As long as you be aware about that and angle enough or hide enough of those cheeks to where you won't get clapped. She is pretty tough at mid-range. Typically what I do with my Yami is I play her at long range, then I start to push up as the match goes on. That way, you've got a Yami with a pretty hardy amount of HP pushing up at the end. That's a pretty tough nut to crack there, in late game. The ship is, of course, quite slow, as it is essentially a super-duper dreadnought, right? At least that's kind of how it was designed. So she's not breaking any speed records, but again, when you have guns like the Yamis, I mean, who cares about how fast you go? I mean, it's not, something slow as like the Vermont, right? You can still keep up, you can still maneuver, right? You don't have to worry too much about getting chased down. I mean, you do have to worry about your turrets, though. Your turrets are so friggin' slow, and I take the unique upgrade, which gives you another debuff to your turret rotation time. So it's just like someone poured like Quickcrete down the barbette, so your turrets are so friggin' slow. And the Yami, but I mean, hey, you just turn the whole ship instead of having to worry about turning the turrets. She's a great ship, well worth the grind in my opinion. The Japanese battleship grind, especially since the Izumo got buffed, you don't really have too many low spots in the mainline grind in my opinion, so it's well worth it. Again, those 18-inch guns are so nice, and she's the one, the only, the Yamato. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, if you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know in the comments down below what are your top 5 battleships. Share with us what you think about that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.